See, this is a painting by Alex Gray that shows the worldview schism. Are we going to stay embedded in the left brain and in other forms of imbalance, and we're going to create the negative worldview, right? Or are we going to live in harmony with natural law, which can create this path when we incorporate the creative and nurturing and sacred feminine aspect of our beings? Natural law, living in harmony with it, can only lead to these conditions: freedom, peace, prosperity, the continuation of our species, our actual physical survival, and our evolutionary progress in consciousness. That's what living in harmony with natural law leads to. Conversely, living in opposition to natural law will get us this side of the world tree. It'll bring this world, this hellish world of chaos and destruction. Because living in opposition to natural law can only lead to these states: control, enslavement, war, chaos, evolutionary stagnation, and ultimately the extinction of our species. Which will we choose? That's still up in the air. I can't tell you that. Only each individual can make that decision for themselves, and then that will play out in the aggregate, in the mass consciousness, the numbers. Thomas Jefferson said, "A free people claim their rights as derived from the laws of nature." And this was also embedded in the Declaration of Independence. The laws of nature and of nature's God, and not as the gift of their magistrates. John Locke said, "The natural liberty of man is to be free from any superior power on earth, and not to be under the will or legislative authority of man, but only to have the law of nature for his rule." Former Grand Master of the Order of the Rose Cross, the Rosicrucian tradition, Francis Bacon, said, "Nature, to be commanded, must first be obeyed." If we want the forces of the cosmos on our side, we have to learn and adhere to the principles of natural law. If we do not align our behavior to that, nature will not stand with us. It will continuously stand against us, and it will itself create more strife and suffering in our lives. And we certainly won't command it. We won't command its forces with things like free energy used for any positive purpose. It'll only be used for destructive purposes. The psychologist Alfred Adler said, "There is a law that man should love his neighbor as himself." And he's referring, of course, here to the Golden Rule. "In a few hundred years, it should be as natural to mankind as breathing or the upright gait. But if he does not learn it, he must perish." And folks, I would really hope this is going to take less than a few hundred years. But based on where we're at, I'm not so sure. I think we could do it a lot faster than that if we accept the key that's been shown here today, that, as I said before, has the power to unlock all the locks on all the doors to all the cages. And that's what the knowledge of natural law comprises. Will we make the choice to climb the ladder of consciousness through an act of our own free will, choice, and effort? It's not a simple climb. I mean, it's a difficult climb. It's not overly complicated to learn these concepts, to learn these truths. It involves abandoning many things that we've already been conditioned with that don't serve who we are, okay? But I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, all right? It involves a lot of deep introspective work. But if we do it, we can step out of the prison that we've imposed upon ourselves by balancing the sacred feminine and masculine forces within each one of us. And by recognizing our own inherent sovereignty, and that there is no legitimacy and never has been any legitimacy to slavery and control and the external rulership of human beings as subjects. Okay? That recognition of sovereignty has to go hand in hand with our knowledge of natural law. It's a totally integrated component of it. This was the title slide. This tarot card was on the title slide. When you understand, and I've talked about this in some of my work online. When you understand the deep connection to the tarot tradition and other mystery tradition teachings, specifically its very deep interwoven relationship to the Kabbalistic tradition of the Middle Eastern mystery traditions, all right? You understand that this card right here actually represents the will of creation and what creation itself, what the mind of the universe itself ultimately wants to manifest in physical reality. Not in some other worldly dream world or fantasy realm or spiritual reality that is to come or not come. Right here in the physical domain, which is not separate and distinct from the spiritual domain, they are one and the same. This card is known as the Justice card. Okay? And it's based on the Latin word jus, which means right or law. Okay? That's where we get the English word justice. This card represents balance between the pillars, as you see on the right side of the king, holding the sword of truth in hand, and the scales of truth and justice have been perfectly balanced and are in the other hand. And it represents sovereignty. And it represents alignment with natural law. And most of all, it represents alignment with truth and the manifestation of order. That can only happen when we align our behaviors to the principles of natural law. Only then will we see the manifestation that the universe is itself wishing for us and trying to help us create, which is justice and order. If we let go of the things that are holding us back and break our mental chains of bondage, we can create a world that is based in actual, real freedom. It is possible. I'm not telling you it's not going to be arduous work or a difficult journey, but it can be done. Okay? If we choose to do that, we're going to see advances and things that are going to be created that the world is going to look so drastically different if we go down that middle path to the truth and to order and to justice through the understanding of natural law and actually applying it and living it in our lives, that the changes we're going to experience are going to be so positive and so transformative that we can scarcely even imagine what the world will be like on the other side of that work, on the other side of that transformation. Will that be done? Maybe. Maybe not. The answer will come from what you see in the reflection of that device right there. That's what will determine it. Nothing else. It's up to each individual. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your kind attention today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Finally, this right here, Lex Rex, simply means the law is king. The law is king. Lex Rex. That's my final slide. Thanks so much. Let's do some question and answer. How much time do we have, by the way? Did I run way over or did I leave some? Oh my God. Hey, I'm very happy that the venue allowed us to go over by this much. Okay? And that they didn't just come in and say, you got to get out of here. So I really did want to leave time for questions, but I think it would be, I don't know if it would be really just, intrusive and ignorant at this point to just stay even beyond this time. So maybe we should start packing it up. All right? I apologize for going so far over. I think the information speaks for itself and is worth it, and I hope I was clarified on that. Listen, I'll tell you what. Anybody has specific questions, since there's no time for questions, let me just get this across, okay? Since there's no time for questions, I'll make a personal effort, and I rarely tell people I will respond to email questions. You tell me that specifically that you attended this seminar here today in an email, and if you have a specific question, Get to the specific question quickly in your email, and I will make the time over the next few weeks to try to respond to everybody. I'll promise that. How's that? Does that sound okay? All right, great. Thank you. Thank you guys all so much for being here, for staying for the whole thing. Thank you. I'm very impressed with you guys today. You know, that takes a tremendous effort of will and attention. So, you know, thank you guys so much.